Oh, it is. It is Hump Day, midweek, Wednesday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Huge shout out to everyone watching us live. Even if you watch back via replay, huge shout out to you guys as well. Whenever you're watching, fantastic. Make sure you smash that like button. Smash the like button and subscribe to the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. I have a big show coming up today, my friends. 12:15, we're going to talk with King Jock himself, Jaccare Givens. 12:40, we're going to talk with Big John Studd. We're going to be talking plenty of Dolphins with both of our guests today. Of course, Jaccare is going to give us some Miami Hurricanes notes as well. Hurricanes open up as a 6-point favorite against Michigan State at home. God, at this point, I'm not even asking for a cover. I'm just asking for a victory, right? I mean, Miami was an 8-point favorite against Appalachian State this past week. Didn't cover that spread. I'm not even asking for style points anymore. I'm just asking for W's. And of course, we're going to be breaking down what the Miami Dolphins game plan should be against the Buffalo Bills this weekend, because that is a gigantic showdown in the AFC East. Before we get into all of that, my friends, I want to remind you that Donno Daily is proudly served by the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. The Quarterdeck has been with me and my shows for a decade. It's been an awesome partnership. They're like a member of my family, and I love the food. The seafood is so fresh at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Whether I'm building my own poke bowl, whether I'm enjoying the buffalo shrimp or fresh fish, a mahi-mahi sandwich, there's so many great options. The burgers are great at the Quarterdeck. The baby back ribs are meat falls off the bone. They have 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. The happy hour literally never ends. And guys, make sure you're taking advantage during football season, whether you're there to watch college football on a Saturday all day or the NFL all day on a Sunday. Take advantage of the 5 for $15 ice cold bucket special during football season. 5 ice cold imported beers, Heineken family or High Noon hard seltzer. Mix and match those 5 for $15 ice cold buckets at the Quarterdeck. If you want to find the location nearest to you, or check out their menu, peep that menu before you go, you want to visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And we have an official sports book here on Donno Daily, America's favorite sports book, BetUS.com. Bet with the 3-decade leader. Join now for a 125% sign-up bonus or a 200% bonus if you sign up with crypto. So credit card or crypto, you get a big bonus. Use our code 5RSN125 and bet sports, casino, horses, pop culture, and more at BetUS.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS. So I mentioned Miami opening up, the Hurricanes opening up as a 6-point favorite against Michigan State for this weekend. The Miami Dolphins are actually a 3.5-point underdog against the Buffalo Bills. I was on with Ethan Skolnick this morning on his show Starting 9, and he was basically asking me why, right? The Dolphins on the road, they won their game against a, potential playoff team in the New England Patriots. The Bills lost at home last week. The Dolphins are home this week against Buffalo. So why are the Dolphins a 3.5-point underdog? It's simple. People think that what happened to the Bills last week at the Steelers was an aberration or a fluke. They think the Bills are out for revenge. They look at the type of numbers that Josh Allen has put up against the Dolphins. He shredded the Dolphins last year. And as we all know, because what have the narratives been over the last couple of days? Oh, Miami was lucky. They should have lost the game against New England. Mac Jones was incredible. Tua threw that interception that was so bad. Xavier Howard saved their asses. People, I'm not going to say they don't consider it a legitimate win, but I think most people think that, if you played that same game 10 times, the Dolphins probably lose 8 or 9 of those. That's just been the narrative. That's not my take, but that's just been the narrative about the way that game played out. So people are still not convinced that the Dolphins are for real. That's number one. And then number two, people are not convinced that the Bills are as bad as they looked last week. Now, this team went 13-3 last year. They put up the most points in the NFL, top scoring offense in the NFL last year. Now, last week, their offensive line, embarrassing. And even when Josh Allen had time to throw, he was inaccurate, looked like he was pressing, made some bad throws, some bad decisions. They did give up a special teams touchdown on that punt block. I think people think that was kind of fluky, and that may not happen again throughout the year. So, even though the Bills looked bad, I watched them with my own two eyes, and they were playing at home last week. People are not buying into the fact that they were as bad as they looked, the same way people are not buying into the idea that the Miami Dolphins are actually a good team this year who went into New England as a 3-point underdog and beat the Patriots on the road. Good afternoon, Brooklyn Rob. He says, we will find out this weekend if Josh Allen has the contract hangover. Oh, wouldn't that be something? If we can get Josh Allen looking more like he did his rookie season when he was inaccurate, whereas last season he was pinpoint accurate. David, good afternoon to David as well, who's in the chat. He said the game plan for the Dolphins, that's part of the title of the episode, of course. The game plan probably is just don't suck. If they suck, we can blame Manny Chang's shoes. Now, Manny is somewhere. I don't think we're going to see Manny much on this episode because remember, Wednesday is Manny Chang's Woods Day. So Manny is out there, survival wilderness training. He's got beef jerky in his pocket. He's looking for the Sasquatch. He's trying to avoid all the bears. They're going to come after him when he's got that beef jerky and raw meat in his pocket. So survival training. We're not going to see much of Manny Chang today. We are going to see, though, Sean Stanley. Sean Stanley is with us. And if I'm not mistaken, yes, he is. He's in the closet with the Don Shula football. Good afternoon, Sean. How are you?
Good afternoon, Donno. How are we doing today, sir?
Doing really well. And speaking of Dolphins legends, do you know whose birthday it is today?
I do. It is the man, the myth, the legend, the last great quarterback we've had before Tua.
the best quarterback the Miami Dolphins had outside of Tua Tagovailoa. Dan Marino. How old is he? Like, I know it's his birthday. There we go. So the one thing, and like,
I've heard 62 or 63.
Oh my God, is he that old already?
I think so. Hold on, man. I'm doing my actual research here.
He might be, but double check that for me because it's one of those things. Like, I knew today was his birthday because I have it marked down on my calendar. Because for me, this is almost as big as Christmas, right? It's like you got Christmas up here. Then you've got like Easter, maybe slightly below that. He turned 60 today?
He was born in 61.
He looks really good for. Have you seen Marino?
I would have known Alfredo already in there.
The guy found a time machine, I think. Or he's on like one of those rejuvenation skincare routines. There's something going on with Marino because if you've seen him, like I think it was not last season because I didn't go to any games with all the COVID situation and stuff, but I think 2 years ago I saw Marino at a game. So he was 58 years old, or maybe he just turned. Yeah, I think he just turned 58 at that time, and you wouldn't think the guy was a day over 45. Like, he looks spectacular. Like, it's Ace Ventura, Dan Marino. He still looks pretty much the same as he did on the Pet Detective set.
You gotta remember, Alex, before TB12, there was DM13.
Yeah, that's true. And like David said, even Dan is taking TB12. How do we know that Brady didn't learn his routine from DM13 and then he just stole it and then trademarked it for himself?
TB12.
The TB12 DM13. Oh my God. So looking into what the Miami Dolphins have to do this weekend, I'm going to try not to overreact to what happened to the Bills last week, but there were some things in there from a defensive standpoint that the Miami Dolphins, I'm sure Josh Boyer, the defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, your head coach, is a defensive-minded guy. I'm sure they've studied that tape frontwards and backwards. They've seen the flaws in that Bills offensive line that looked really bad. You've got to try and replicate the blueprint that the Steelers created. Force the Bills to adjust to it. Like, this is one of those things where, you might be able to say, well, the problems that they had a week ago, they're not going to be problems again because the Bills are going to adjust. Josh Allen, McDermott, they're going to figure this out. Force them to adjust. Attack them the same way and see how they responded to it. Because I thought the Steelers, they did a fantastic job rushing 4 against what looked like a shambolic Bills offensive line last week. Cover with 7. And then that actually made Josh Allen look human, a guy who looked superhuman last year. The Bills offensive line last week against Pittsburgh, they gave up 3 sacks. They committed 6 holding penalties. That was just the offensive line committing 6 holding penalties. When you see an O-line committing that many holdings, you know these guys are getting their asses beat and they're trying to save themselves, once they can't block anybody.
Does the Dolphins defensive front resemble anything of what the Bills just saw with Pittsburgh?
That's the new steel curtain. It's going to be a tough one. We need them to show up. I think they were better, I thought, Sean, than they looked on paper last week because, they didn't get a sack because Landon Roberts dismantled Mac Jones, and then the officials did that thing that they've been doing for 20 years where they protect the Patriots quarterback and they throw a ridiculous flag. So that should have been a legitimate sack. They hit Mac Jones a number of times. So they need to even get better against Josh Allen because he looked, even when he wasn't facing pressure last week, Allen, he didn't really look like the Josh Allen of last year, looked inaccurate, looked like he was pressing too much. I'm hoping this wasn't a fluke, okay? But he only completed 1 pass of over 20 yards last week, which is certainly uncharacteristic of him, and it's uncharacteristic of that offense. So I think there is something to be said defensively. And I know the vast majority of fan bases in the NFL worry about their offensive lines because it's just one of those things where very few teams have O-lines where you say, oh, these guys are fantastic. We have nothing to worry about. But for every Dolphin fan who's been worried about our offensive line situation, the Bills have a right to be even more worried about their offensive line right now. And then offensively for the Miami Dolphins, this is, if nothing else, this is an opportunity for Tua Tagovailoa to prove something and show the world. Yes, the Dolphins will try to establish a running game. Doing that against Buffalo, based on what we saw last season and what we saw even last week against the Steelers, for our guys, for Ahmed, for Gaskin, and for Brown, it might be like trying to run into a brick wall. They limited the Steelers, did Buffalo, to 75 team rushing yards last week. They gave Najee Harris a tough time in his debut. I think he finished with 45, 47 yards. Now Miami, I think this game is going to be they're going to try to establish a running game, but really attacking them through the air. That's something I think Buffalo is going to try to make Tua and the Dolphins receivers beat them through the air. I think Miami's speed at wide receiver and Tua's ability, hopefully, to get rid of the football quickly is going to make all the difference. Will Fuller, if nothing else, this guy can be an X factor. He's finally making his 2021 Dolphins debut. I hope he gets a decent amount of snaps. I don't really know what to expect because he missed 98% of training camp. He got 1 or 2 practices in. Last week, he was suspended, carrying over from last season, the PED thing. He is a veteran, so he's better equipped to deal with a lack of official preparation. I know he and Tua have had throwing sessions before. So obviously a guy like Will Fuller, who's been around, been in the league, proven himself, he's better equipped to deal with a lack of preparation than some of the younger wide receivers might be. So I think he could have a good, impactful Miami Dolphins debut. Barry Jackson published a couple of good stats on William Fuller V. His 16.5 yards per catch last season was the 6th highest in the NFL, second most for any player who caught at least 50 balls, behind only David Moore from Carolina. Fuller, for his career, 14.9 yards per catch average. That ranks 10th in the NFL among active players. And then, of course, we also look for the usual suspects, Jalen Waddle, who had a very nice debut last week, Devontae Parker, who's unstoppable on those slants, and hopefully, because he wasn't a big part of the game plan last week, hopefully we see Mike Gesicki targeted more, if not targeted a lot. And then, yes, something you don't write into the game plan, certainly. Well, maybe you do, because you might want to attack the Bills in a way that can hopefully test their conditioning levels. But I like the fact that this is a home game in September, a 1 p.m. kickoff, and it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It's going to be about 90 degrees, the high. And so I'm assuming the high for Sunday, that high will be right around 1, 2 o'clock. First half of that game is when it's going to be the hottest it is all day, somewhere between 88 to 90 degrees. The humidity is going to be through the roof. Humidity is going to be off the charts. I can remember, the Dolphins teams of the 90s, early 2000s, and I focus on those years especially because there have been a number of years where this team just hasn't been very good, right? But back when you had really good Dolphins teams, they used to punish opponents from the North and the Northeast when they would come down to Hard Rock Stadium back when it was Joe Robbie and Pro Player and all that. They used to punish opposing teams when they would come down in the September sun. Hopefully Al Gore has been right about everything he said about climate change, because, God, if there's ever been a time to embrace climate change, the Miami Dolphins need to embrace climate change. Let's get that CO2 level up, and let's make it hot and freaking humid at the Rock on Sunday so we can kick some Buffalo Bills ass. Hello, by the way, to Danny Weiss, the Pitbull, who's in the chat. He says, can we just say the Fins are in first place in their division, first time in a long time? Well, and that reminds me, the Dolphins are the only 1-0 team in the AFC East. They beat the Patriots. Bills got beaten by the Steelers. The Jets, of course, lost to Carolina. Sam Darnold revenge game. So the Dolphins, yes, they are the only unbeaten team in the AFC East. And what an opportunity. If the Dolphins can get this win on Sunday, going up against the favorite in the division, by far the favorite in the division, you would essentially, if you win this game, you've got a 2.5 game lead over the Bills for the division. You're 2-0, they're 0-2, and you've got the head-to-head tiebreaker, at least for now. You play again later in the season, of course. But the Dolphins can really put themselves in front of the pack if they can beat Buffalo this weekend. And I think it's all division this weekend because the Patriots go up against the Jets. So I would expect the Patsies to get off the schneid and beat the Jets, because the Jets are going to be like a free W for a lot of teams this year. And if the Dolphins can beat the Bills, you are at a huge, huge advantage in the AFC East. I think within the next few minutes, we're going to be talking with Jaccare Givens from the 5 Reasons Sports Network, but he's not around just yet. Bishop Sycamore's Finest writes in, why are the Dolphins the only AFC East team in the tropical climate and the other AFC teams are in the Northeast cold country? Miami should be in the AFC South. Yeah, but the thing is, like, you're in a legacy division. Like, it was, what was it? I think it was about 18 years ago when they added the 4th division in both conferences, because it always used to be, you had in the NFC and the AFC, you had the East, the Central, and the West. And then I think it was after the Houston Texans came in, expansion, they made 4 divisions in each conference. And so, like, you're in a historic division, because the AFC South, it's like, you know, that's where they threw the Texans in there, and they moved Indianapolis in there. They were in the AFC East before. You know, we used to, for a few years, had to go up against Peyton Manning twice a year, which actually the Dolphins did well against the Colts when Peyton was on that team before they changed divisions. But yeah, so we are in the historic division. I guess AFC South, maybe it would make more sense geographically, but I'd rather be in the East, because I don't want to be taken away from the historic rivalry we have with the Jets, with Buffalo, with the Patriots. Obviously the Patriots punished everybody for 20 years, right? Like they were holding everybody down. So that wasn't a picnic being in the same division with them. The division is more open now. I know Buffalo had a great season last year, but the division is a lot more open than it used to be. So no, I'm totally fine with this one. Let's see. Oh, we got the thumbs up from Bishop Sycamore's Finest. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Man, I can't believe Dan Marino is 60. Oh my God. So if Jaccare is not in the chat yet, Sean, is Big John Stud in yet? Is he waiting? Because if he's waiting, I can't hear you.
Jaccare just popped in.
Oh, Jaccare just popped in. Okay, so we're gonna go to Jaccare. Big John Stud's gonna be coming up at 12:40. So let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, 5 Reasons Sports' own, and the 6th Ring's own, King Jock, Jaccare Givens. Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing good. What about you, my brother?
I'm doing really well, man. It's nice to see you. So, Jaccare, we're looking ahead to this game on Sunday against the Bills. I saw Buffalo didn't look very good last week against the Steelers. I'm trying not to overreact to that because it is one game. Josh Allen did not look like the Josh Allen of last year. Their offensive line looked really bad. It was their offense that lost that game, not their defense. Their defense was pretty good. So what did you make of that, Jaccare? Bills, Steelers last week, and how much of what the Steelers did well can the Dolphins replicate?
Well, first off, Buffalo has an issue because they can't run the football. So you had times where the Pittsburgh Steelers were playing 6 defensive backs, and they had 3 down linemen. And the automatic checks from that, since I've been playing football forever, is always run the ball. So even if a pass is called, Josh Allen should have been checking to a run because they're giving you essentially saying, hey, here's 5 to 6 yards every play. So Buffalo couldn't run the football. I think and they don't have any physicality up front. So I think the Steelers just out physical them, right? And they just played a more physical game. I think the Dolphins are on the same level defensively as the Steelers. I think the Steelers is, top 5, top 3 in the league. I think the Dolphins is a top 10 defense. So I think they can replicate what the defense provided. Also, the big throws that Big Ben was making over the hitting Juju Smith-Schuster for a big gain. Johnson was open on a couple of throws. So I think they can replicate that. I think Miami did very well in the first week. So I think it's a similar game plan to what they employed against the Patriots. I would like to see them open up the offense a little bit more jet motions and stuff like that. But overall, I think Miami has a great chance to win this game just because I don't see Buffalo as the same team they were last year. Obviously, Josh Allen didn't look good, but they don't run the football. So it's a one-dimensional game. So I think Miami can go ahead and stop the bit. Like, they can game plan for stopping the pass. And I also think you'll see the Miami pass rush finally have that impact that we've been waiting for over the last 2 years. I think you'll see Jalen Phillips get a lot more reps this game. And I think he'll have a big game. I'm not going to say I think he gets his first career sack. I think he gets probably two sacks this game.
I want to pick up on something you were saying about Buffalo not being the same team. How much of that, if anything, just has to do with the fact that it's a lot harder when you've got the target on your back, because they were able to fly a little bit more under the radar last year because it had just been the Patriots division for 20 years. Tom Brady leaving created a power vacuum. The Bills were the ones to step into that. They go 13-3 last year, and they're putting up monster numbers, especially on offense. They were the highest scoring team in the league last year. Just how much harder is it from a football standpoint to try and sort of defend that throne, right? Because the Bills, after last year, had become really like a lot of people's sort of favorite to win the AFC and represent the conference in a Super Bowl. So how much harder does it make it when you know you're getting every team's best shot every week?
Well, you have to think about it like this. It's equivalent to in the normal world when you go to work every day and they throw a wrench in your routine, right? So now it's like, hey, I'm used to doing the same thing for the last 6 months, but now they see that I'm one of the top performers. Now I throw that wrench in there like, hey, we're expecting more out of you than you're giving us. So I think that has a big part to do with it. It essentially happens every year in the NFL. It was only one team that was really consistent. Two teams over the last 10, 15 years was the Steelers and the Patriots were the most consistent teams in football. So I think Buffalo has to deal with that. They have to deal with being the best team in the division because they're expected to win this division, especially when the Patriots went to Mac Jones as well. So it just really puts a target on their back. And I think that they just have to, find their groove again, obviously. But if they go on 2, that's going to be cause for pause because Miami, I do want to see Miami fare well against Buffalo because they did not in either game last year. So I do want to see Miami kind of have a redemption game against Buffalo.
Yeah, Jaccare Givens joins us here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. By the way, I see in the chat, AGCD asks us, fins up, is the game sold out? I don't know for sure, but there's a big problem if it's not. I mean, you're talking about home opener, division rivalry game against Buffalo, and I know all the snowbird. Well, I guess they're not snowbirds this early in the year, but all the loser Bills Twitter mafia guys slamming themselves through tables. They're gonna come down. They travel pretty well. So I don't have that info in front of me. But if this game isn't sold out, we got a little bit of a problem. But another thing on the Dolphins with Jaccare, then I want to move on to some Canes. What was your evaluation on Tua Tagovailoa last week? What did you think?
So I watched the all 22. I think the O-line played very well. I know we had, they had a few mishaps here and there, but they played fairly well, and I think Tua played well. I think he did have that one pass where we all saw, which was bad, but other than that, uh, he would have had more yardage. He did have 3 drop passes. Waddle on the 3rd down that he has to complete. Um, so that was probably the biggest one because I think Waddle might have turned that into a touchdown because he was wide open. But overall, I like what he was doing. I do want him to take a little bit more chances with Devontae Parker. If he's one-on-one, just get a kid a chance, man. He's 6'3", jump ball receiver. I like to see Gesicki more involved this week. But overall, I think he did fairly well in the game that we expected. It was a tough, drag it out, punch, game. The only thing I did not like what Miami was doing on change of possession, we went 3 and out. And you can't do that, right? So when you get turnovers or whatever it may be, you can't do that. You have to go down and at least get a first down and get points. But overall, the Tua didn't have the explosive numbers, but he had the game that we needed him to have to win the game.
Something. Did you do you have any agreement in what Patriots corner J.C. Jackson said after the game? He was talking about Tua's interception, and he said, like, I'm paraphrasing here, that if he can't find anything in his first read, then he's just going to throw it up. He said that's what Tua does. Like, I don't see it that way, Jaccare.
I think that was just a shot trying to take out the kid. Obviously, that's not his game. Tua is Tua's an accurate distributor of the football. He goes through his progressions. He's reading 1, 2, and 3. He's hitting guys, in stride, and he looked very good. I don't even understand how this guy can say that. I think Tua is 2-0 against the Patriots in his start.
Yes,
I think he's 2-0. So I don't get that. That was kind of a cheap target. He only had one ball that I really was like, okay, why he threw that? And that was when he was trying to throw the ball away. That's it. So I don't understand where that comment came from.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Moving on to the Miami Hurricanes, and I know people are saying, do we have to? There's a couple things I want to get into, guys. So despite the near apocalypse last week, where Miami was like this close to losing to Appalachian State, they opened up as a 6-point favorite against Michigan State at home. How concerned should we be coming into this week, Jaccare? Because I really thought Miami would put on a show against Appalachian State. And I know Manny Diaz says afterwards, well, App State, they do that to everybody. But it's like, man, how far have we come as Canes fans? Listen, I know I live in the past. I get that. You could say what you want to a small program. They make everybody work for victories. 20 years ago, Miami would have beat these guys by 60. I know it's not 2001 anymore, but still, how far we've come from that. How concerned should we be heading into Michigan State this Saturday?
Well, Michigan State is a lot better team than App State. They can run the football, and one of the problems that Miami is having is tackling. Tackling has been atrocious over the last 2 games, especially from the safety position. On that long run that Cameron Peoples had, I think Bubba Bolden had a chance to score him up. He did not. Bubba Bolden has had 2 back-to-back bad games where I'm not used to him missing open field tackles that much. So I do think that it's a cause. And Kenny Walker, the kid that plays running back for Michigan State, is a very good running back. So I think Miami has to stop the run for one, but they can't play down to their competition. And I think a problem that people don't see is the same problem Texas have, right? Texas and Miami have essentially the same problem. Like, they think because, hey, we're Miami, hey, we Texas. That's why they play down to their competition level so much, because of the legacy that these guys in the past have built, that, oh, hey, we play in Miami, so Miami feels like we're Miami, like we're going to scare teams like that. And it's not like that anymore. You don't have that same mystique. And I think it's hurting the program. That's why I don't agree with the whole, bringing you back. No, create a new foundation going forward with these kids. Create a new legacy for these kids so it helps you, right? It does not help you trying to live in the 2000, 2001 when you guys were having the best teams that you can assemble, right? So it's not helping you. I also want to see Rick Lashley call a better game. He called an okay game, but a better game. Will Mallory has to be more involved. I do not get why this kid is not getting the football. He's arguably your most reliable pass catcher. We've seen Mike Harley with a few drops. And Miami, outside of Keyshawn Smith and Rambo, have been our offense has been pedestrian, right? The offense has not looked good. I did like King did get more elusive this week, but I do need them to get more creative in the run game, right? It's too much inside zone, uh, and it's too much inside zone and not enough zone read, right? It's too much called zone read where he just has to just hand it off. There's no decision making for the guy pulling the ball. I like them to try to get on the edges a little bit more than they do. These guys have good speed at running back, but they're not using it. And also, for the life of me, Donaldson has to go, man. I like for to see a guy, excuse my language, get his ass whooped the whole game. He was getting pushed in the backfield the whole entire game. Like it was very. If King was not mobile, Appalachian State would have had at least 10 sacks just rushing the passer. But overall, Miami got the win. That's all that matters, and I'm very impressed with Tyreek Stevenson, who's looking the part at the cornerback position. He's played well. Jafari Harvey's played well. So it's a few bright spots, but I think Miami has to put it all together. And I know it's the only second game of the year, but this is a very big game for him because I think if he loses, I think that seat gets even hotter.
Yeah.
And I've always been on record saying I don't think he's the guy, but they gave him a chance. But I think this is cause for pause because his teams come out flat. It's the same thing every week. They're flat, and that's on coaching. That's nothing to do with the players. You have to do as a head coach, be ready to play football against these teams. You look at Nick Saban, Mercer, they beat him, whatever, but he was upset about the game. Watch how Alabama comes out against Florida. You're gonna be like, well, this is not the same team I seen.
And so unfortunately for Miami, had a couple of crucial injuries last week, and yeah, Ryan, they did put on a show. The cat, honestly, the catching of the cat was a bigger highlight than anything that happened on the field. But a couple of tough injuries in the Appalachian State game. Let's start on the offense. Don Chaney out for the year, unfortunately. That's big, right? Because you also have Jalen Knighton has been on double secret probation. We're not sure when we're going to see him again.
I think he comes back in 2 games.
Okay. So it's gonna be a little while yet then, and obviously Cameron Harris is like the one guy who's getting some burn in that backfield. He's got a bigger load now. So how do we manage without Don Chaney? Are we going to finally see Thad Franklin and Cody Brown get some work? What do you expect from Miami's backfield?
I think those 2 young guys get work, Brown and Franklin, but I also think it's going to be more on De'Aaron King to run the football, right? I think you'll see the receivers get more involved in the run game, jet sweeps, motions. You have guys with explosiveness at the receivership position, Restrepo, Harley, Pope, Wiggins. These guys can get touches on catches, and you'll see more quick pass game as an extension of the run game, to offset the loss of Chaney. But that was a huge loss because Chaney was he was becoming the best running back on the team. And it kind of sucks in the midst of his young career that's a major injury. Hopefully the kid recovers all the way because you never know how he comes back off that. But I expect more quick passing game as an extension of the run, and I expect De'Aaron King to become more involved in the run game as well going forward.
Now on the defense, linebacker thin already, and Keontre Smith is going to miss several weeks with a leg injury. How badly is he going to be missed?
I think Smith was starting to kind of figure it out with the backer position. You can kind of just tell from game 1 to game 2, he was a lot better. He's gonna be big. That's a big loss to me because I think the kid was gonna probably be the best defensive player this year. But I think Flag. This is a big opportunity for Flag to step up to become that number 1 backer. And I think they'll replace him more with more safeties on the field as well if they feel like they can't get it done with the guy they're replacing. I can catch the blank on his name right now. I think it's his number 17. I think you'll see more James Williams, Bubba Bolden,
Yeah.
that's with Hall and with Carter. So I think you'll see a lot of that where you see Bolden playing essentially as a linebacker up in the box as a strong safety to offset the loss in the thinness at backer. And this is also an opportunity for these other guys who are going to get reps to establish themselves. So it's always, I know injuries suck, but it's always opportunity in injury.
No doubt about that. So last thing before we let you run, your prediction for Miami hosting Michigan State. Do the Canes win? If so, by how much?
I got the Canes winning 31-17.
Okay. You know what? I would take that. I said at the top of the show, and that's a 2-touchdown victory. That's even a cover. I would take that all day. I would take a 1-point win. I mean, after a 2-point win over Appalachian State, I would take a 1-point win over Michigan State.
I think Miami's going to play better this game just because of the flack the whole week. Oh, Miami looks bad. So, and also a lot of people want to take into account Alabama has beaten a lot of teams 2 times in the season, right? After they play Alabama, they lost. So that kind of probably was a rollover in the game. So I'm going to give Miami a fair chance, and I think Miami comes out and wins 31-17. And I think we'll be quite happy with the results.
Great stuff here as always. I cannot recommend our guest here enough. Make sure you're watching him on the 6th Ring. You're catching him all over the 5 Reasons Sports Network, tonight. Miami Sports Break tonight. As well. Oh, 6th Ring tonight. Awesome. And when's the next Miami Sports Break? When do you do those?
We're going to do that today at 4:30.
Awesome. Oh, it's fantastic. So, yeah, follow him all over the network and follow him on Twitter at KingJock24. Jaccare Givens, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the shows today.
You too, brother.
Good stuff there by Jaccare. So a couple things, like he brought up early in the interview, Josh Allen, how good he's been against the Dolphins the last couple of years. Here are the numbers that Allen put up in 2 meetings against the Dolphins a season ago. The first meeting especially, which was a close game. The second game, he wasn't even on the field the entire game. But the first game, September 20th of last year, so almost a year to the day. They're going to play this one on the 19th. Last year it was on the 20th. Josh Allen threw for 415 yards. I don't know why I said it like Dr. Evil. 415 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions against Miami. That's an ass whooping is what that is. That is an old-fashioned ass whooping, right? Think about it in another way, okay? Josh Allen last year, first meeting against the Dolphins, 415 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 INTs. Can you imagine if Tua Tagovailoa puts up a stat line like that against anybody? Even the national media would give him credit for that, right? Even if it's against like a bad team like the Jets or the Jaguars who you do face this year. If Tua has a stat line this season at any point in the year, and I think he might because he's got excellent talent around him now, so I'm expecting at least 1 or 2 stat lines like this. But imagine Tua Tagovailoa against the Bills or anybody, even the Jaguars, 415 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 INTs. Even Skip Bayless would have nothing bad to say about the guy the next day. Even Stephen A. would give him credit the next day. And then in the second meeting last year, which was a full-on butt-kicking, the Bills scored 56 against Miami. Allen threw for 224 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception in that game. Imagine sending the Bills back to Orchard Park 0-2. Oh, that is football porn. There would be nothing sweeter than that. Can you imagine the misery of the hashtag Bills Twitter Mafia? Like, they put themselves through tables for fun. They would be putting themselves through tables as like an act of trying to hurt themselves if they were to suffer that kind of a loss to the Dolphins. Oh, my God. Alex Donno Jones went to Evil Broadcasting School. It makes sense now. Here's the deal. You know why the Dolphins, why they're not getting any respect, my friends, heading into this game on Sunday? It's the globalists. It's George Soros, Hillary Clinton, Roger Goodell. They got this agenda against Miami. This Tua could probably go out there and throw for 415 yards. He's not going to get any credit. You think Tua is going to get any credit? It's going to be all about how the Bills choked. No one's going to give any credit to the Dolphins because they're doing those experiments on frogs. They're controlling everything. The Illuminati. They got the puppet strings. They're controlling everything from behind the scenes. My friends, if you're listening to this right now, you are part of the resistance. There is a global conspiracy, and we're the only ones who know how to stop it. Brooklyn Rob writes in, Colin Cowturd will still dump on Tua, saying he should have had 5 touchdowns. Oh, man. Real quick, before we bring in our next guest, who I'm really excited for, I want to remind you guys about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy football for big cash prizes. My guy, Sean Stanley, told me he's up $100 just from last week playing Underdog Fantasy. On Underdog Fantasy, you just draft. No need to worry about waivers, lineups, or injuries. Underdog handles all of that for you. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download their app. The mobile phone app is great. Draft a season-long best ball team, and that's it. No in-season management. They're going to give you $25 when you sign up. You can take a free shot at a $1 million grand prize in their fantasy football tournament. That's right. You can get a free $25 in bonus cash on Underdog Fantasy if you use our code 5RSN when you make your first deposit. I love Underdog Fantasy. It's so easy to use. The mobile app is slick. The website is user-friendly. Do what I've been doing. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com, join a league, draft a team. That's it. You're good to go. Remember, go to UnderdogFantasy.com, the App Store, or the Google Play Store. Sign up with our code 5RSN and get $25 in bonus cash. You know, every time I channel my inner Alex Jones, I get excited. Are you excited, Sean?
There's only one thing that gets me more excited, Donno. It's this picture.
It's weird. Like I saw Sean on the screen. I thought you had something to say. It looks like I caught you off guard.
Oh, I forgot I was on the screen when I hit the commercial.
Do we have Big John Stud with us? Is he in the waiting room?
He's in the waiting room, ready to go.
All right, let's bring him in. No more waiting room for this guy. Oh, there's my dude. How are you, my friend? How pumped are you for Sunday?
Oh man, I can't wait, dude. I've been waiting back here, man. Jaccare was making some good points. I just unfortunately, not trying to be Debbie Downer, I don't see it the way that he does, man. The U's been living too much off of 2000. I told my friend the other day, I said, man, Appalachian State and Miami got the same level of talent. The difference is name. It's sad, but it's true.
The difference was our kicker. Essentially, we had a better punter and a better kicker.
That's it. But at the end of the day, if you look at the level of talent, Miami's Miami in name, but Miami's not the U from 2001, unfortunately. So if we beat Michigan State, man, I might come on here doing backflips because I don't see it happening.
Well, and listen, I'm going to hold you to that. Now, first of all, are you able to actually do a backflip? Because I am not. I will fully admit that.
Well, right now I can, but if we win, I promise I'll practice, man. I'll get it done somehow, some way. You know,
and you know what? And I'll make you that guarantee because I love chatting with you. And I think Miami will win. I just think it's going to be close. Jaccare was giving Miami a 2-touchdown victory. I think it's going to be closer to a 2-point victory than a 2-touchdown victory. But I think Miami's going to win. So if the Canes win, whether you're able to do backflips or not, I will bring you on next week to chat about it. So we'll have a good time with that.
We will.
So I want to get into the Dolphins with you. You're clearly not too optimistic about the Canes for Saturday, a game that will be played in the same stadium on Sunday. Are you feeling better about the Dolphins and the Bills? Because I'm trying not to overreact to it, but the Bills didn't look very good last week, and the Dolphins, they went up to New England and got a W.
To be sincere with you, man, I have 100%. I view the Dolphins. There's no way to me the Dolphins lose this game. To me, I know everybody's talking about Josh Allen and all this. I don't think Miami loses this game based on one thing nobody's talking about. And, oh, by the way, before I get into that, you said that it would be weird if the media wasn't into the Dolphins-Bills game. There's only – Fox Sports is only putting 4% of the game on live TV.
That's right.
It's only going to be here and in New York, certain parts of New York. The game to them doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To them, the game is a turd. They don't see it as a game. We see it as a game.
And that terrifies me because so here's what's going to happen. Let's say the Dolphins win the game and Tua has a nice game. He's going up against a good defense, right? So I'm not expecting him to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. So let's say the Dolphins win a close game. Tua has a nice game. Maybe he throws for, kind of like last week's stat line. Maybe he throws for about 200 yards. He's got a touchdown, an interception, maybe a touchdown run. With what you said, with only 4% of the country watching that game, and Colin Cowherd is not in Florida or Western New York, right? Skip Bayless is not in Florida or Western New York, so they're just going to go by the stat line. So even if Tua has a nice game against a good defense, what's going to happen on Monday on all these turd shows is they're going to be saying, well, hey, Tua was a passenger. The Dolphins win again despite Tua holding them back.
But that's what they say no matter what. Tua could throw for 400 yards, and Colin Cowherd will say the same thing he said, regardless of what Tua does. I'm not sold on him. He doesn't have an arm. He can't throw. He's too little. You know what the funny thing is to me? I've said this on other shows, and I'll say it here. The funny thing is he basically betrayed Tua. This man was on Tua's documentary talking about how good Tua was. He was about 2 seconds from giving his wife and his daughter to Tua to impregnate him, and now he's talking shit about Tua. That's just me being real with you. Okay? I mean, come on, dude. Like, for real, the guy went from being the greatest thing you've ever seen. You meet his family, you get on the documentary, you're on the documentary, and now, he's not good enough. Oh, he's no good. Oh, the sky's falling. I don't understand. I really don't. And another thing, I hate that the national media doesn't give context to what this kid went through last season. It's not a hip surgery. He went through the Bo Jackson injury that Bo knew a lot of things, but Bo couldn't come back from that. He's the only human being to come back from that injury. He did it in less than a year, and he has a winning record. So I don't understand what more they want from the kid. I really don't.
I don't either. I think he might have to win a Super Bowl for people to start respecting him. I don't even know. Hey, are you going to be at both games this weekend? Are you going to go to the Canes and the Dolphins?
I'm not going to be able to go because my daughter thinks my house is a jungle gym, so I have to sit here and take care of her. I mean, I would bring her on if it wasn't that she's not here right now, but she thinks it's a jungle gym, man. I mean, I love taking her places. We get plenty of free food. I've never seen that before to that degree, but I gotta take care of her over here. She does know how to say, when I say Tua touchdown, she does put her hands up. I did teach her that.
How old is she now?
It's amazing. She just turned 2.
Oh, dude, that's incredible. So she's learning. She's being indoctrinated already. I'm trying to indoctrinate my son. He's 3. He's like 3.5, but he's already starting to rebel a little bit. Like, I'm kind of worried that he's going to start like cheering for rival teams just to spite me. So I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
I mean, if you really want to, I mean, people don't know this. I'm going to say it live because whatever, I don't care. My wife, she is a Jets fan. So talk about living with the enemy. Okay.
So does she like battle with you?
She's actually right there. She's a Jets fan. So
a house divided. Oh man, I love that. So do you guys like battle to try to pull your daughter in both directions?
I told her she's never going to be a Jets fan. She tells me she is. We'll see what happens. I have a feeling I'm going to end up winning this, but we'll see. But yeah, I don't really understand what they're going to do if Tua does throw for 3. I think Tua's going to go for about 275 and 3 touchdowns. The one back there.
I would love it. I would take that. I would absolutely love it. By the way, I like this comment from Brooklyn Rob. He says, damn, put that guy on the offensive line for the Dolphins. We do have we have some question marks at left tackle. So maybe are you ready to suit up if called?
I would, but I'll probably get blown off the line. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, if they bring back clipping, I'll purposely knock out 4 linemen, but I don't know what I would do if they came at me at full speed. But what I am going to tell you is Eichenberg did a lot better than what we thought they were going to do. And the sack he gave up with Judon wasn't that Judon blew through him. He tripped over Solomon Kelly. So people didn't see that. And so he tripped over Solomon Kinley, and people weren't saying that he didn't get bull rushed. He didn't get planted on his ass the way we thought he did when the play first came out. To be honest,
so
because it didn't look good. I'm not gonna lie. We were looking at the broadcast. That didn't look good.
But and either way, and I agree with what you said about the actual tape. But either way, he still recovered nicely from that.
He did fantastic. I think Austin Jackson's on notice, man. I'm sorry. Either you block or you got to sit down.
I like this comment. What I personally find funny is everyone says Tua isn't good, but he's beaten almost all the quarterbacks everyone likes more. And a guy that he didn't beat but looked good against was Pat Mahomes last year. Like, let's not forget, like Tua and Mahomes, they were going toe-to-toe in that game, and it was a shootout in Miami. And then I remember, like, on the broadcast after the game, people were trying to create, like, a narrative of, oh, hey, could this be the next, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady rivalry, talking about Tua and Mahomes. And then, like, I guess over the next couple of weeks, Tua gets benched, and the narrative completely changes to, like, it went from being Brady versus Peyton to a couple weeks later, oh, Tua's a bust. Like, the narrative, it changed on a dime.
It just completely plummeted in 14 seconds. Like, what the hell just happened? But at the end of the day, think about it this way. Tua was playing against Mahomes, but who did Tua have at wide receiver?
Yeah. Matt Collins was like his best guy. Matt Collins, Lynn Bowden.
Yeah, it was me, you, and my wife playing wide receiver for Tua because Walmart was closed. So, who did he have to throw to? Let's just keep it 1,000. This guy's throwing to Tyreek Hill, and our fastest receiver is Jakeem Grant, who can't catch a beach ball with stickum gloves. Let's just keep it 1,000. It is what it is. He still can't catch. I'm sorry. That's why they restructured his contract.
Yeah.
You can't catch a football. I don't get that. He's not a wide receiver. What is he? He's not a running back.
No.
He's too little to be a running back. He can't catch a football. Oh, he returns punts. Okay. Good. For that, if you're going to do that, put Jalen Waddle back to the return punts. Yeah. I prefer to have Jalen Waddle back there all day. And I am going to tell you one thing. The reason I think Miami wins is because Will Fuller is going to be on the field. That's going to shift double coverage towards Will Fuller. Mike Gesicki might get about 10 targets going up against a linebacker, but we'll see what he does.
I hope so. And so last thing here, and then I'll give you a chance to promote where everybody can find you. Did you get a chance? Because I was watching, Dolphins played at 4:00 last week. So I was flipping through a few different 1:00 games on the Sunday Ticket, but I spent a lot of time watching the Steelers-Bills game because, of course, I have a vested interest in that being an AFC East guy. And from a Dolphin perspective, I liked what I saw because the Bills' offensive line looked terrible. And then even when Josh Allen had time to throw, he looked more like the rookie Josh Allen of a few years ago. He did not look good. So what was your take, and how much of that do you think the Dolphins can replicate what the Steelers did a week ago?
I think they can replicate the entire thing except for the organic pressure because we're going to have to blitz. Our front four does not get to the quarterback. I wish we had TJ Watt on our team. He's not here. Unless Jalen Phillips wakes up and takes about 3-5 hours, I don't know what he's going to do. Hopefully he does it, but it's we can replicate it with the amoeba defense and confusing him. I think the problem is there's tape on him now. There really is tape on them now. They know they don't have a running game. They have to throw the ball, and people are playing him that way. And there's only so many times you can get away with being one-dimensional. And they literally ran for like 30 yards the entire first half. Like, they did not run the football at all. Like, he threw, what did they have, like 30 or 40 plays in the first half, and like 34 of them were passes. So if you're not running the ball in the NFL, even to fake it, it's worse than what happened last year. It's worse than what Big Ben went through. At least they tried to run the football. They just couldn't. So I see Miami winning 24-20. I've been saying that from the beginning. I think Tua is going to have about 275 yards. He might have 3 touchdowns, and it's going to be hot as hell. That I do know.
Yes.
It's hot over here all the time.
It is so hot.
I mean,
It's a 1 o'clock game. Thank God and thank the scheduling gods for that.
I don't know how far I live from you right now, but it's hot right now. I'm in my backyard and it's hot right now, so I know it'll be hot on Sunday.
What area you live in?
I live near the Miccosukee Casino.
Oh, I live a little bit southeast of you. I live by the zoo.
So you live off of Monkey Jungle.
Yeah. Not quite that far south, but you get there. It's not far. Yeah.
That's the best exit name ever given to a street. I'm telling you. Every time I see it, I just crack up. I'm like, really? Did they really just, but it is what it. But I think we have a very good opportunity of winning. If we go up 2-0, I do see Miami. The only game that, believe me, scares me even more than Tampa Bay is the Raiders game. Max is for real. That white boy coming off the edge, he's the truth. But if we win these 2 games, man, we could be seeing Miami go 4-0, going to play Uncle Tom. See what happens up there.
Oh, what did that? And we've been talking about. I know it's still like 3 weeks away, but we've been talking about that a little bit because I think that is a real opportunity for this Dolphins team to show people they are on the map. Because I'm not expecting to win that game. I think the Dolphins would probably end up, and it's hard to predict it because both teams have 3 other teams to face in between. But I think the Bucks will probably end up being about a touchdown favorite in that game. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the Colts don't really scare me. I mean, Russell Wilson destroyed them in every way possible. I mean,
took their souls.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't even know if Carson Wentz even play that game. I don't even know if he played. But if he did, he didn't do too well.
No, didn't do well. I think he played, but no, he didn't. That was one of the games I was watching least, even though I did have money on Seattle and they did cover. So I was very appreciative of that. Hey, man, let me know. Let people know where they can find you. And I see we have so many Dolphin fan members who are huge fans of you, man, seeing you around all these shows. Where can people find you, social media? And do you have any more appearances coming up this week?
No. Well, I mean, I sometimes pop in and out. I don't really schedule anything. I mean, you're like the only one who told me, "Yo, be on at this time," and I was like, "Okay." I mean, I'm not. I don't consider myself to be a celebrity.
And you know what?
So.
It's not even me. It's because my producers are so professional. Sean and Manny, bro, they have a spreadsheet where they plan out like they have guests scheduled like a week in advance. So we had to put you in the spreadsheet, sir. This is a serious operation we're running here, apparently.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad I was able to make it. I was like, well, I don't know if I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it or not, like I told you last week, but I figured it out. We take one for the team. It is what it is.
We love you, man. We love having you. And why are you still pissed at Aaron Rodgers?
I'm pissed at Aaron Rodgers because I started him in my fantasy league, and he didn't do crap for me at all.
He probably put up negative points. That was so bad.
And he admitted he got kneed in the nuts, and that's why he threw an interception. So I don't know. I told everybody Corey Linsley's the reason why he's struggling, and nobody seems to understand that. The guy's a Pro Bowl center, man, and he's not there. The pressure on that play came right up the middle. You can't, whether you're Aaron Rodgers, whether you're Pat Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, or Tom Brady, if they can't keep you upright and you can't look through your progressions, it don't matter what you do. Yeah. If that was the case, Patrick Mahomes would have won the Super Bowl. He spent more time running backwards than he did forwards in that game. So
truer words have never been spoken. We appreciate you, Big John. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and let's hope. I know you don't expect the Canes to win. I'm hopeful. Let's hope for the Canes.
Like I said, I'll be happy, man. I'll be ecstatic,
totally.
man.
We're going to bring you out to do backflips.
But Michigan State is a step up from Appalachian State. Let's not kid ourselves. So let's hope they show up.
For sure. Enjoy the rest.
Manny Diaz was supposed to be a defensive coach, and I ain't seen much defense in 2 weeks, man.
No, sir. Enjoy the rest of your week, man. Thank you so much for popping in.
You too, man. Thank you very much for having me. Y'all be safe.
Good stuff there from Big John. Big John stud. I love it. Enrique writes in, do you like a parlay of Man City money line and over 2.5 today? I do. I think they should win relatively easily. I've got a few Champions League bets today. Now, of course, I'm a little bit upset that Manny is off in the woods and he's not able to pop on with us today because Manny Chang is a Real Madrid fan. I'm an Inter Milan fan. We go head to head at 3:00. It's going to be in Milan. I'm incredibly nervous. You know, each of the last 3 seasons, Inter have not performed well in Champions League. They haven't made it out of the group stage in the last few years. They were in a group with Real Madrid last year, and Real Madrid advanced, Inter did not. So I'm a little bit nervous. I think anything can happen in that game today at 3 o'clock. So I'm looking forward to it. Cap says, Ethan, he let Donno moonlight, bro. I don't even know. I don't even know what he means by that. I don't know. I'm confused now. Listen, I appreciate
I think they want you on later, Donno. I think they want you on a little bit later.
Oh, like what time? Like or longer or just later?
Let me look in the crystal ball. Hold on.
Okay. Let me know. He's looking at the Magic 8 Ball. Oh, he says whatever the mush goes, go opposite. I'm wearing the Bitcoin hat today because before I got on an hour ago, Bitcoin was pumping. And I think we're still pumping, my friends. Yeah, we are. Holding that over 48K. It was under 47K when I woke up this morning, or right around 47K. So Bitcoin at 47K. Ethereum is pumping over 3,500. So we are good. It is all good in the crypto space here today. So again, I want to throw huge shout outs to Big John Stud for joining us. Oh, he wants me on the Finns fan panel. Yeah, but my problem, oh man, I'd love to go on. My problem is I've got a prior engagement that I have to get to in like 5 minutes from now. So in the future, I will. Been saying for an hour ain't long enough. I need 3 hours. Yeah, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We might expand. We might expand and go a little bit longer at some point. But if we do 3 hours, I'm going to do 2 of those 3 hours. I'm going to do them as Alex Jones. And then just the first hour, I will do them as me. And then actually, I'll do like 3 different things. I'll do me for the first hour, Alex Donno Jones in the second hour, and then I will be Russian Donno in the third. Listen, my friends, we have a serious problem here coming up against Buffalo Bill. It's a very, very tough opponent. You know, they like drinking the vodka up there. Bill's Twitter mafia. It's not an easy game for us in Miami. We have lots of hot sun. You know, we have Tua Tagovailoa. I think Dolphins have good chance here. I want to remind you guys, and thanks to Jaccare Givens as well. Jaccare Givens, Big John Stud, Sean Stanley in the back. A couple things we have to remind you about. Had a lot of good folks in here today watching us live, but I haven't seen enough of you guys smashing the like button. So if you're in here watching us live and you haven't smashed the like button yet, shame on you. There is still time to rectify that. Hit that thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to our YouTube channel here, 5 Reasons Sports, and make sure you guys are supporting our sponsors. Oh, I didn't even know that was a bit. Tinfoil to Howard. Oh, my God. I didn't. Tune into the Feel the Heat's most recent episode for the hijinks and hilarity. I'm not trying to steal anybody's bit. I've got a tinfoil hat that I put it on. When I'm not on the air, I'm wearing my tinfoil hat because I don't want the government reading my mind. So, there you go. That's how I walk around the house all day. And it feels so free when you block your brain waves from the Illuminati. There's nothing more freeing than that, my friends. Tinfoil to Howard. That does sound like a good bit. That does sound like a great bit. But make sure you're supporting our sponsors, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Guys, you should be getting down there every Saturday and every Sunday during football season. 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. They've got dozens of TVs covering every wall, and they have a big screen at every location as well, including all the TVs covering every wall. So you're not going to miss a second of the action. And all football season long on Saturdays and Sundays, you can get the ice cold bucket 5 for $15. Heineken family of beers, High Noon hard seltzer, mix it and match it. 5 for $15 ice cold bucket. It is a beautiful thing, and it's so delicious on a hot day to knock down some of those beers, my friends, from the ice cold bucket. The food is delicious. Make sure you check it out. Watch every UFC pay-per-view fight there as well. 0 cover charge for a UFC pay-per-view fight. It is so good. Visit them on the web if you want to peep their menu before you go, or if you just want to find the location nearest to you. Go to their website, quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And my friends, if you want to, like we had Enrique talking about his Champions League parlay for today on Manchester City, I know a place where you can place that action. Like, people ask me all the time, because I talk so much about sports betting on the shows and on Twitter. Like, I have people popping into my DMs on the regular asking me, like, hey, like, where do I go to wager? You know, I live in Florida, or I live in some other state. Where do I go? We have a sportsbook partner, betus.com. This is the place to go. America's favorite sportsbook. They have odds on literally everything. Whether you're betting Champions League soccer, you're betting the NFL and college football this weekend, the NBA is going to be here before we know it. They even have pop culture props. I've bet college lacrosse on betus.com. Anything you could possibly imagine, horse races, they have it at BetUS. Their customer service is awesome. If there's something you don't understand about, like, oh, what's a teaser, what's a parlay, I don't get what I'm doing here. If you're a newbie, they actually have a dedicated chat line, an online chat, or a 1-800 number you can call. Any sort of help that you need, they got your hookup at BetUS. And we have your hookup here on Donno Daily, because when you sign up for the website, use our code, you see it on the screen there, 5RSN125. If you type in our code when you make your deposit, you get a 125% bonus if you sign up with a credit card. Or if you sign up with crypto, and your crypto's pumping today, so how about that? Sign up with crypto and you get a 200% bonus with our code 5RSN125. You'll find out why BetUS is America's favorite sports book. They don't have some of the crazy rollovers that some of the other sites do. I've been using BetUS for a long time now. I discovered them, I think, in 2020. I think it was. And the reason why I found BetUS, I was using a different service. I hadn't heard about BetUS. And a friend of mine who is a former college lacrosse player was giving me college lacrosse betting advice. And I was trying to make these bets on the other sports book I was using, and they didn't have odds for it. BetUS did. And then I came to realize this is a great service. Odds on everything. They really do a nice job. You will find out why it is America's favorite sports book, betus.com. All right. Oh, thank you. By the way, Danny Weiss says he just liked and he subscribed to 5 Reasons Sports. And you won't regret it, because 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel, it's a lot more than me. Okay. Ethan Skolnick had the starting 9 this morning. He does that on, I think, Tuesdays and Wednesdays every week. That's a really popular show. You know, from all the Heat-related program, Dolphins-related program, the 6th Ring is going live tonight. This afternoon, we have Miami Sports Break with David Eversole and Jaccare Givens, who joined us earlier. There's always something going on 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. So huge shout out to, and I always do this at the end of the shows, and I know I'm going to miss some people, so I apologize in advance. I'm going to go through some of the people who've been in the chat. Brooklyn Rob, who I love, even though he calls me a mush. He's kind of right. Danny Weiss, Cap for Life, Andrew McGuire, David, Ricky J. Mark popped in. So Alana's tinfoil hat has a rhinestone on it. So okay, there's a little bit of a difference. GA Canes fan, thank you for hopping in. Enrique, who's got that parlay in Champions League. Ismael Barrera, thank you so much for hopping in. And I think I mentioned Andrew McGuire already. Everybody who's popped in: Marco, AG, CD, Bishop Sycamore's finest, David, Alfredo Artiaga was in earlier. Thank you guys so much. We will talk to you again tomorrow, same time, same channel, 5 Reasons YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and smash that like button. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow at noon right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.